So, so what a Jewish scholar would say is, based upon the history of the Jewish people in Germany and Poland and all that shit before World War II and what happened to them, right? And the and the political climate that was built, right, where uh, this whole negative inference was being put out across the country about Jewish people, that they were the the goldsmiths, they were the people who ran the bread, they were the people who uh, they were the cause of the regular people who weren't Jewish, right, to be in regular fucking despair or whatever, right? Motherfuckers wasn't doing so good. And so it allowed a climate for Hitler to do what he did, right? And so their slogan is literally never again, right? And so what the ADL and fucking, I mean the yeah, the Anti Defamation League, the Jewish Defense Fund, all these different big name groups, what they do is promulgate the idea of never speaking negatively about the Jewish community at all. Because if they allow anything negative to be said about the Jewish community, even criticism about how they have performed in this country in the last 50 years or whatever, since World War II, right? Um, it would allow that same type of climate to exist to where they could be wiped off the face of the planet. Now, what I'll say is this: I'll give you that just on the strength as a community of people and just me being a spokesman for the black community in this fucking moment. I'll say, okay, cool. We'll give you that. You have the right to determine what is offensive to you as a community of people, right? And by the way, we have had to learn through trial and error, because what you say is a big blanket kind of statement, like don't say shit. And we kind of trying to regard you as regular people, just like us, another marginalized group who does fuck shit like we do, right? And we're just trying to address the fuck shit the same way you address our fuck shit. But you say we can't, because you get to determine what is anti Semitic. And I'll say, cool. In order to give you that, you have to allow us the same thing. Allow the black community the latitude to determine what is offensive to us. So, one thing that's offensive to me is just the whole black on black crime statement. Just the whole idea. Like, if you mention black on black crime, if you say that statement to me, that's anti nigger. Period. It's a poor representation of my people. It instills an inherent sense of hostility in anyone who's not black. Not only that, I'm not like you being Jewish where you can be mistaken for white. They'll never mistake me for nothing but a nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let me define what it is that's offensive to me in my community. Let us define what you get to talk about. You don't get to characterize us as a people and the way that we move amongst our own people and how we move in the greater scheme of fucking mainstream America. You don't get to discuss our education and this, that. You don't get to discuss our heroes. You don't get to decide who our heroes is. You don't get to have a voice in our conversations about Malcolm versus Martin. You don't get to say shit. I don't give a fuck how much money you donated to the civil rights movement, because I look at that as manipulation. You're trying to buy a particular position. So fuck you. You don't get to say nothing. You don't get to comment on how we feel about reparations. You don't get to be a part of that conversation. You don't get to tell me anything about child care, fucking procreation of my community, marriage, religion. You don't get to do any of that. You don't get to talk about Farrakhan at all. At all. Period. Period. Because that is offensive to me as a black person. Anytime that you mention Farrakhan in any way, because it's generally going to be negative, I consider you to be saying that the entire black race needs to be eliminated from the face of the planet. I am that offended by you mentioning the minister. So you don't get to do that. Remember, I've already given you the latitude to define whatever you believe to be offensive, and I'm going to abide by that. Can you give us the same thing? Fuck no, they can't.
And
that's my problem.
Give a shit.
And that's my problem. It's not, I don't have a problem with the way that they define themselves or the way that they identify or the way that they push their political agenda and shit, right? Like, you know, if you got the numbers and you got the political clout, you supposed to fucking do shit for your people. I'm not mad at that. Give me the same fucking latitude. Because you don't. You never have. And I don't believe that you ever could. I don't believe that it ever could be in the conversation. I believe that anytime where black scholars are in a conversation with Jewish scholars, what the conversation becomes is an affirmation of Jewish pain as opposed to an affirmation of equal pain and a mutual understanding of where to go forward. It's always about what we got to do to appease that community. Even though we don't never do shit to that community. We don't have the power to do anything to that community. We don't go fuck their ass up. We don't got no Scud missiles. You know, we trying to fucking do business with you motherfuckers. Y'all control all the music, all the media, everything. We trying to exist in this motherfucker. We trying to buy jury from y'all. Y'all control all the whole diamond shit in the fucking United States. Niggas buy diamonds. It's the first thing a nigga do. You get a little bit of money. If you ain't flossing for yourself, you flossing for your woman. Niggas buy your shit. We fuck with y'all. Y'all don't fuck with us. So stop fucking with us then. Like, leave us the fuck alone. Let us do what the fuck we doing. And get the fuck out of our business. How about that?